Okay, it's 100 hours, 100 stars. Over the next 100 hours, we are reintroducing you to 100 superstars from various walks of life. And none better than my brother from another mother, GK. Gaurav Kapoor, welcome to the show, man.
Brother, what? So you couldn't find a star for today, so you decided to find me instead.
Actually, Chinappa and you were the first three people I thought of. So it might interest
Chinappa
you.
and me are the first three people. Which one of us is a split personality?
Two out of the three people I thought of. So, in fact, I just finished one with him. So, this is you immediately after Chinap's.
Chinappa. So you know that Chinappa is actually two people, right? Chinappa is two people. There is one Chinappa who is at home. There is what I call the civilian Chinappa. The civilian Chinappa is, bro, you want something to eat, bro? Just change the channel, bro. And then there's the in uniform Chinappa, right? When he has to go on air, right? When he has to go on air. And then he puts on all his rings and his dark glasses.
Oh my God, that's exactly what happened right now. There was a conversation like this. And then when I hit record, it became...
Hey, what's up? Like, calm down, brother. Matlab, you know, hatti khisak jayegi.
Mandatories, guys. On the screen, you'll see a QR code and a link. Please scan the QR code or click on the link and then proceed to contribute. Fill in the amount and your payment details, and everything goes to the PM Cares Fund, the Prime Minister Cares Fund, which is for all our COVID-19 warriors on the front line, our healthcare workers who are working for us. So, man, how are you taking to this lockdown? Have you taken to it like fish to water? But you seem to be more busier than ever before.
Yeah, what I don't like is that, I love working from home anyway. I like being at home. Office is 1 kilometer from home. So I like that little, thoda age ke saath, this whole running around and flights and traffic, you like it a little less. But the problem is now you can't make that excuse that, hey, I'm traveling, so I can't come for your shoot.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm stuck in traffic, so I can't come for your shoot. How will I go from this studio to that studio in the same day? I can't do it. Now, it's like 11 to 1, you do one shoot, 1 to 2, another shoot, 2 to 3, another shoot, because all you have to do is effectively get a bottle of water and go again. So that's the only sort of dampener. But I quite like, I've quite liked being at home. But I think that this connects also to the thing you said previously about donating. And I think we're all very fortunate. We have a roof over our head. We have, food in our fridge. We don't have to worry about, things that a lot of other people who are not as privileged as us and lucky as us have to worry about. So I think it's very important for all of us to donate. And it's not about big sums. Even if it's about, there is a guard or a watchman, there are essential services people who are around you, there are people who are delivering stuff to you, whether it's food, vegetables, packages. If you can do anything for them, anything from a packet of biscuits to a slightly bigger tip than you would usually give, a loaf of bread when you're going to buy your vegetables and fruit, and you come back with, whether it's bananas. It's just small, simple gestures if you can do. It doesn't matter how much you're giving. What matters is the sort of the thought, the empathy, and the compassion in your heart. So I think that's very important. And I don't think any of us can really complain about the lockdown, bro. I mean, look at us here. Yeah, we're all privileged and fortunate. We don't have food anxiety. We don't have, to worry about a roof over our head. There's people who have serious, genuine problems. So I get very hassled by people who say they're getting bored right now.
So, it's interesting when I ask people what is the skill set that they've developed or worked upon. Like, for example, Ashish Hemrajani said, I am baking bread every day, different kinds of bread. Dabu Ratnani said, man, I've not backed up my work for ages. So all my old photo shoots, I'm digitizing them and taking backups on my drives. Nikhil said that he's working on children's stories, stories and this and that. Yeah. So in the midst of all this crazy milieu of shooting and this and that, is there a skill set that you worked upon in lockdown? Something that...
Yeah, bro, quite a few. I've actually designed a building, a monument, which has been the tallest building in Mumbai. Then I've got an astrophysics degree. I've composed a sonnet and one symphony. I've learned 6 languages, learning my 7th right now. Learned how to play the piano, self-taught from YouTube. Sorry, this is me making fun of everyone who's like, hey dude, man, lockdown, we have Michelin star chef. Just only do things that you know you will do after this lockdown is over as well. That's your genuine interest. What I really enjoyed doing, and I always enjoyed doing, was cooking. I was never very proficient at it because I hadn't spent too much time at it. Now I'm getting to spend time at it. So I think my cooking has just become better. The problem with all of us who are cooks, who are higher in enthusiasm than talent, is the food shows have ruined us. So what takes regular people 30 minutes to cook, or proficient people 30 minutes to cook, takes me 1 hour. See, because mise en place has to be, right? Everything has to cut and chop and then put it together and measure and all. Whereas good cooks are just going, putting. So somebody asked me the other day, they said, why did it take you an hour and a half to make a pasta? It's like, but chop the garlic. Should take you half an hour max. I'm like, yeah. So I'm trying to improve my speed, just my instinct with cooking. I haven't gone as far as to learn to bake bread or anything, because that's just crazy level of commitment that I don't have. But I have learned how to make fish and things with shrimp, vegetables. So I am learning pizza. I tried to make pizza dough the other day. Came out fantastic. It had the texture of a slipper and the taste of socks. That's what I tried.
I'm very impressed. So do you have a domestic help who lives with you, or do you do the grocery runs yourself? Are you going once or twice a week outside, or is it being delivered downstairs and you bring it up and sanitize it? Just how you're going about your groceries and essentials?
Two things. So there's two. One, of course, the domestic help we had, which was a housekeeper, has a younger brother in the city who would have been left alone to fend for himself, who would not have been able to. He's a student. So on day one itself, he told a housekeeper, you should go and you should be with him. Then we have a cook who was in his village in UP and who said, "Bhaiya, aap akele hain, main aata hu train par." मैंने कहा बैठो तुम, ठीक है, नहीं जाओगे, तुम घर पे बैठो अपनी family के साथ. So sort of, on our own, and that's fine, because it also helps you realize that you don't really need all the things that you thought you needed, right? You don't need to eat fancy meals all the time. You can eat for nutrition and sustenance more than always being a glutton for taste. So that's one thing. Your first question. The second is getting stuff is luckily just about 50 meters down the road from Pali Naka. So tend to go in the afternoon with my mask and gloves and hairband and eye collar and covered completely. And there's nobody in the afternoon buying fruits and vegetables. So luckily I have the place, both the stores to myself, get the stuff come. Any deliveries that happen in our building, they put on the desk in the reception, and again, contactless, go down, get it up, sanitize everything, throw the boxes away, wash everything. So being very careful. Again, that, it can come from anywhere, right? But all we can do is take as many precautions as we can.
So man, this Isolation Premier League idea is just fabulous. I mean, was it just you and Nirav Ghosh waking up one fine day and, the team at Oaktree saying, we've got some time, so let's reach out to our friends who are at home and try and do this? Or did you plan it like a regular show, and then it just fructified into this because of what happened? Where did that come from, man?
So we were just sitting, we were doing a call just as this lockdown happened. Luckily, I could foresee about a week ago that this was going to get bad. So a week before the lockdown happened, we ordered a work from home for Oaktree Sports. So we got 25 people. So everybody, we said, work from home. In fact, over the next few days, come in slots and pick up your stuff and go home and set it up. So edit, music, VFX, everything could get set up. People were set up from home because we had no idea how long this would be, what would happen. I don't think anyone did. So first idea was, let's just do something. Because, the team needs to be occupied. They need to feel motivated. If you're just sitting every day and doing nothing, it can just drive you a little crazy in, small Mumbai houses which you're sharing with, people sometimes. So if you just have 4 or 5 hours of work to do a day, it just keeps you sort of mentally sane. It really started with that. Then we thought, let's revisit some of our old ideas. I'd always had this idea, and I've always been fascinated by whenever you ask sports people about their good days, it's amazing what all they remember, right? They just sort of seem to know it all. So we said, why don't we do something which is asking these guys about the things they've done in the IPL, which will give people some nostalgia. The IPL had to be on right now. It's not happening. Some stories will come out. It'll just give people something. We literally on a Zoom call came up with this idea. And I said, we don't want to do it as a live. Everyone and their aunties and uncles are doing Instagram live. Right? 5 in the evening should be, instead of called 5 o'clock, it should be called live o'clock, because that's it. It's just red circles. Right? We said, let's give people, we can't give people a complete experience like we would if we shot it. Let's give them as close to that as possible. I threw this challenge out to the team. In 72 hours, we had the first episode up with Dinesh Karthik. First episode up. We figured out how to shoot it with Zoom, sound, cleanup, music, made the VFX, made the design elements, made the research, everything. All I had to do was call Dinesh. He agreed. He loved to have some fun. We did it. So, and that's how it just started. And I think the name just caught on, because we were playing on IPL. So we said, Isolation Premier League. And it just caught on. So now we're thinking, we won't limit ourselves to 20 questions. We can just have a power play with somebody with just 6 questions. We can do a T10. Sometimes some fans complain saying, Ashwin's questions are very difficult. Chahal's questions are difficult. UV's questions are very easy. I'm like, bhaiyo, ye UPSC ka exam nahi hai. This is like, whose line is it anyway? The points are all made up and they don't matter. Just have fun and listen to some stories. So yeah, to answer your question, it came from 2 things. One was the need to keep the team occupied and to give something to our viewers, to give slightly differentiated quality product. And the other thing was that we've still got to make things and sort of put them out, and so one for our team. And the second for our viewers. So those were the 2 reasons why we sort of came up with this.
Yeah, and you've got a whole fun bunch of personalities. Who do you just a few of the guys? I mean, I know as a producer, each episode is like a child of yours. You can't say this was better than the other. But I'm just saying, just some fun moments from the Isolation Premier League.
I hate all the episodes equally. You're right. They are like my children.
So the fun stuff that happened, man, in Isolation Premier League. I mean, stuff that just comes off the top of your head.
I think one of the funniest was with Amit Mishra, because he's too sweet, man. Mishi is such a sweet man. And he was, there he is, he had gone to his parents' house. So the internet is not good there, right? So the guy actually moved 4 locations trying to find internet. Arey suno, mujhe 2 minute aur do yaar, main dhoondta hu. And then finally he sat in one corner of the kitchen where the internet was the clearest. And then he turns it around and see what I was doing before you guys called. And there was a plate of sabzi that he was cutting. He had called. That was quite cute. Then who else? One of my favorites was in the Ashwin episode where his daughter just comes in, right? So we're chatting. And what did I ask him? I asked him what's the PIN code of the Chennai Stadium, of the Chidambaram Stadium. What's the PIN code? So Ashwin gets completely flummoxed. He goes, yeah, you know what? I've never written a letter to the stadium. How would I know? So just then, while he's thinking, his daughter pops her head in. Yeah, because she thought he's just chatting with a friend or shooting. So she comes and she goes, hi. And he's got the cutest daughters, right? So she comes and she goes, hi. So I said, hey, listen, we want to help your dad. So why don't you help your dad? Now, the answer is, the PIN code is 05, right? So she comes in from here and the answer, she goes, I said, yes, you're right, it's 5. Nice. I can hear Preeti laughing at the back. Ashwin is laughing. I'm laughing. This poor adorable child has no idea what's just happened. That was a cute moment.
And 6 seasons of Breakfast with Champions?
Yes, we've done 6 seasons.
Ooh.
मजाक में बात काफी serious हो गई.
Correct. Yeah. So favorites or again, favorites is the wrong word. Memorable ones in this season. Just throw out a few.
So I'll tell you some behind the scenes anecdotes of some funny stuff, right? So the most elusive person to get was Saurav Ganguly, right? And the reason is because Dada does 40 things at any given time. Dada shoots 100 days for his KBC Bengali. He's with a news channel. He runs a school. At that time he was running CAB. He has some business. He'll do speaking assignments. He'll do commentary. He'll do some consulting. It's impossible to pin Dada down. So we were doing commentary on the England tour. So we were there. We were in Manchester. We were going to London the next day. So we were on air. In the ad break, I turned to Dada and I said, Dadi, tomorrow morning, I'm coming to shoot with you. 2 years I've been trying to catch you. I know you're free tomorrow morning. I'm coming to the hotel. So he says, okay, come at 11. I said, okay. So we've shown up in London at the St. James Hotel, the Taj Hotel.
Yeah.
And Dada comes at guess what time?
I don't know.
11:01. Dada's perfect on time. Later we realized that actually Dada double booked the 11 o'clock slot. He was supposed to shoot one more thing. Their camera packed up. So we got him at sharp 11. Honestly, I would have waited for Dada till 12, 1, 2, anytime. No problem. I decided today I am going to shoot this episode. And you won't believe he is such a professional. He is such an amazing storyteller. We got 2 episodes of total about 40-45 minutes of content finally on air with him. We shot with him for 55 minutes.
Wow.
That was it. That ratio is insane.
Cool.
Everybody knows that ratio is just insane because he just kept giving gold after the other. So that was amazing. And what happened is that our production guy in London, so we had 3 people on the set. Our production guy, just as Dada came, said, oh, let me get some coffee. Because the breakfast service was over and he said, listen, it'll take too long here in the hotel. I'll just go outside to the coffee shop and get some coffee. By the time he came back, our shoot was over.
Wow. So he goes out of Buckingham Gate, gets a coffee and comes back and it's over.
He goes, he finds one was shot, one somewhere else. I think he also went and smoked 2 cigarettes and took a walk and everything. But he thought, chalega shoot. He came back, the shoot is over. So people who are watching are going, why was there no coffee? Why didn't you ask Dada for coffee or breakfast while sitting with him? They're like, because the guy had gone, but our shoot finished by the time he came back. So Dada is one. Then another story I really like is Virat. The Virat episode is so amazing. See, this
I
is
love
for
it.
all.
It's like 2 Delhi boys just hanging out, man. That's what it is.
Yeah. And how that happened is that I got a message from Virat at midnight on a Tuesday at 11:30 or 12. I get a message in the middle of the night from him saying, ha 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 ha. Saying, are you okay? What has happened? So then he sends a voice note saying, I've just seen your episode with Ashish Nehra. What have you guys done? This is insane. This is amazing. I can't stop laughing. What is this? So he sent this amazing voice. So I said, yeah, we were just having fun. This is the show. You also come show your cute face on it. So he sends a message back immediately saying, okay, tomorrow, 7 o'clock is fine. At this point in time, bear in mind, I'm in Delhi because I'd gone for a shoot. I said yes. I called Nirav and I called the crew. They are also wondering why he's calling at 12. I said, we have Virat tomorrow at 7 p.m. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? All Virat said is that I have another shoot, so just keep it in the Andheri area in Mumbai, as you know, suburban Mumbai. Just keep it in that area because that's where I am and traffic in the evening is crazy, so we'll get more time. Now the problem is, where do you take Virat Kohli in Mumbai to a public place at the evening?
Anywhere. Anywhere in India. Where do you take him? Yeah.
Where do you take him?
Yeah.
Right? Because you'll go in one piece, but you'll come out in like 10. You'll be holding his shirt, somebody will be holding his shoes, somebody will like. So he's telling me, he says, why don't we go to social? Because we shoot a lot of shows in social. He says, why don't we go to social? I'm like, have you forgotten who you are? How the hell do I take you to social at 7 in the evening? You're stuck now. What is our location? So dear brother Roshan Abbas steps in and says, listen, why don't you shoot at the Encompass office? So I'm like, yeah, that's great. You have a beautiful office. They sweetly send an email out to people saying whoever is not required to be there after 6, you can leave, don't hang around in office. Oh, we land up there at 7:30 to 9, we shoot the show. And the people who stayed back, this has all got a picture with Virat, and the people who took that HR email seriously and left early cursed themselves the next day.
Wow. What a story that is. That's unbelievable, man.
That's how we shot that show.
And I know a lot of people were screaming out and clamoring for MS to come on. Has that happened? Or has he remained elusive?
Yeah, MS, to be honest, I've not even asked because MS doesn't appear on any show. In fact, for 10 years that I was doing the IPL for Sony, he wouldn't even come on extra innings. He doesn't even give interviews to BCCI. He doesn't appear on any show, any talk show, any radio show, anything. That's just his thing. He just doesn't like to.
He does the after press conference or something and that's it. No.
Yeah, so he just does he'll do the post-match presentation because he's the captain, so he has to. But otherwise, he doesn't do anything. Like even any BCCI bit or, any CSK bit or any Sony or Star or anyone. He just doesn't do any. And I know like we spent a lot of time together and, traveling and stuff. And he's seen the show. He's a fan. And he's told me once that the Ashish Nehra show clips were making the round of their team WhatsApp group. So the memes and GIFs from that and things we had said were part of that group. But he doesn't. So people keep asking. And I have decided that one day when I do get him, that will have to be the last episode ever of that show.
Never say never.
Then we're done, right? You will do MS Dhoni on Breakfast with Champions, 3-part special, and then shut her down on the show. That's it.
I like that you break format sometimes. Like, for example, Miss Field that happened in between. Then the Lady Cricketers, which is fantastic. So in terms of where you're going to take the show, I mean, I understand that it's fundamentally sports. It's about conversations. Are you using this time to think of how you can take it to the next level?
My idea always with Breakfast with Champions was when I sort of conceptualized the show, the idea was to make a talk show for the screen, which was an antithesis to a TV show.
Yeah.
It would not have an opening. It would not have me talking to camera. It would just be a candid conversation where a third person as a viewer could almost feel like they are the third chair on the table and two friends are talking. So it was designed, and even I visually designed it like that. Like our cameras are we've never used lighting in any episode. We've never used makeup. We tell people wear whatever you want, chappal, shorts. So it's just think of it. And that's why we do it in restaurants and cafes, because automatically a person is put to ease, right? The minute I put lights on you and I put cameras on your face and I do focus testing and I see if the light is hitting you correct, you get into you change, right? So we just want to make it as casual as possible. My idea was to do it, Champions was not meant to be only sport or only cricket. Champions was supposed to be, hey, I love talking to people. Why can't I get Ratan Tata on this show someday, right? Mm. Why can't I get the head of ISRO? Why can't I get a physicist? Why can't I just get musicians? Why can't I get producers, directors, writers, anyone, right? There's so many champions. But sometimes, so what happens is that it's almost like the show became a victim of its success. Now it's become so synonymous with cricket that I fear that if we try to break it from cricket, we might get a little bit of backlash. And to be very honest, platforms and sponsors and all our associates and all our partners, they don't want us to depart from cricket now, right? They're like, why fix it if it ain't broke? Yeah, so that's what has happened now. But at some point in time, I do want to take it to, maybe I'll make it just an audio version and do it with champions in other fields as well. So I want to do that. There's so many, as you know, there's so many fascinating people in India who are in different walks of life and different professions. And I think, young people today can use idols and they can use insights into other careers as well. So I would like to do that.
So, man, as a sports broadcaster and an MC, VJ, all your various hats, what is the advice that you can give anybody who's watching this? Because, the post-lockdown world, the new normal, is kind of freaking a lot of people out. I mean, I know for a fact now that, if I charge X for voiceovers, it might be half X once we come out. And that is going to be the new normal till, things don't sort themselves out. So how are you approaching this as a sports entrepreneur as well as an anchor, which is both your hats?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. Both as so my career earlier used to be, I was two different people, one as an entrepreneur and a producer, and one as a performer. As a performer, I had a certain sort of ego, and not an ego, but just the fact that I've been in the business for 20 years. So there's a different sort of, there's a different branding and a standing that has happened there. Whereas as a producer and entrepreneur, I'm new. So it would literally be, I'd be two people on a call where somebody would call and say, we have a job for you, GK the professional. I'd be like, why don't you send me an email and I'll think about it. I'll consider it if it fits into my plan. And if I got one call as a producer, entrepreneur, kahan hai sir? Nina, batao na, kahan hai? Navi Mumbai, Pune, Japan, kahan hai? I'll come, right? So I was anyway two people. I think now that person has become one person. Where if somebody calls for a campaign or something, I was like, how much do you have? It's fine. Take it. It's no problem. Right? So, but no, jokes apart, listen, everybody will have to reevaluate their business model, right? And it's not just about the fee. First up, you have to reevaluate the product. And once the product changes, the pricing changes automatically. So everybody will have to change their product. And then there's a trade-off. There's a comfort and convenience. If I tell you, Rishi, you only have to do 5 VOs a day and you do them from home and you're going to do them between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock. As opposed to saying, you need to do 5, but I can call you any time of the day or night. You will anyway price lesser for the first than for the second.
Correct.
So the factors change. So once the product that you're giving changes, and that's what I want people to think about, like people who are creative people, the post-apocalyptic world, as I'm trying to call it. I don't want to freak anyone out. Yeah, but the post-lockdown world will be different, obviously. There'll be a lot of things that will change. And I think first the change should come, the business change can come later. The first change that we should acknowledge as human beings, as emotional beings is, I think we all must realize that we never needed as much as we thought we needed, or as much as advertising and big corporates made us believe that we needed, right? We don't. We don't need to eat as much. We don't need to possess as much. We don't need as much fancy stuff. So I think that should be a good realization for the human race, saying goodness is more important than richness, right?
Correct.
Just make your life and your emotions rich rather than material possessions. So I think once we realize that, I think our stories will change. I think our creative products will change. I think how we execute them changes. And then we just realize once you need lesser, your ambition changes, your goals change. So a person who was aiming to earn 100 rupees every month will realize that once again, 70 is also not that bad. But in that 70, let me do things that I really want to do. So another thing in the lockdown is a lot of creative people are just doing things because they have nothing else to do. So let me give this a shot. Don't do it. Just take that time to reflect and think. Don't do something that you would not want to carry on in the post-lockdown, right? Because that will take away time that you could spend developing your primary skill for the post-lockdown time. So just get off the treadmill. Don't flay your limbs. Sit, think, reflect, and then come up with the new creative product.
That's great advice. So the interiors in your house, they're amazing, man. I see some Aussie boomerangs, some African blades or whatever they are, the masks.
Yeah, man.
Was it all you, or did you get a professional to come in and do it, man? So cool.
Bro, made by hand, yeah. This is another skill that I've learned during the lockdown. I've made this by hand. Ethically sourced bones from long dead roadkill animals in different parts of the world. And then I put them together. And that lamp that you see is pure gold. In fact, 24 carat gold. It's a set of two. It's a set of four actually. Two are here. Two are in Papida's house. I send them to him. And he has two. I have two. And this plant, as you can see, I reached...
The best part of the house. That's the best part about the house.
Yeah, the plant, this is actually... this is Photoshop because it's actually a marijuana plant. But I've made a traveler plant so that people don't get alarmed and don't call the police. I actually got this from Bob Marley's farmhouse there last year. It's crazy. Where are my stories going? What's going on? And but the true story is I actually went hiking to the Amazon rainforest before they tore it all down, and and brought it as cabin baggage.
What's the first thing you're going to do when, if and when the lockdown is lifted? What's the very first thing you're going to do, man?
The first thing I'm going to do, stay at home.
Correct. He's going to go get crazy.
I want everyone who's watching to promise me. You have to promise me. The lockdown getting lifted is not India winning the World Cup. Yeah, you don't have to go on the street and start celebrating. Right? Just please be careful even after the lockdown is over. Just be careful. So the first thing I'm going to do after the lockdown is over is sit at home.
Well said. 100 hours, 100 stars shall continue. These are 100 big stars across diverse facets of life, and we bring them to you because we're supporting the PM Cares Fund. There is a QR code and a link that you see on the screen. Please scan the QR code or click on the link, fill in the details that you want to, the amount that you want to donate along with the details of your payment, and proceed to contribute. Gaurav Kapoor.
Man, I want to tell people, you must contribute. Everybody bar none has something they can spare in their heart. If it's only a loaf of bread, that's fine as well. Yeah. But just insaniyat. I think insaniyat was one thing that we were missing. I think we had just become too brutal to, other human beings. So I think we should use this as, I say try to take out positive from every negative situation. So I think that positive should be that let's just do that, man. There's too much chopping other human beings, chopping trees, plants, rivers, pollution. Just stop, man. I heard birds the other day. I was like, what is this sound?
What is this sound? Yeah.
What is this sound? I don't know what it is. Tell me, Rishi, what is the one household object you have not used at all?
No, I've used everything.
I'll tell you what I haven't used.
What?
Iron.
मैं तो करता हूँ इस्त्री यार.
Really?
Because this morning I took this out of my cupboard. I said, it's not looking very nice because the istri wala stopped coming a long time ago. So, stuff were getting washed and pulled out. So I did a basic one.
No, you're doing lockdown wrong. You're ironing your clothes, you're doing lockdown wrong. And I hope you're not wearing full pants.
I am, my brother. Oh no, I can't tilt down. But
wearing full pants. I have not.
Just in your honor.
I'm not formal. You dress formally. I appreciate the effort. I have to tell you, Ankur Tiwari 2 days ago on a Sunday night, Ankur Tiwari video calls me, and he's wearing a white shirt and a black tie. He's dressed like Bruce Springsteen. I was like, are you okay? What's happened? Why are you dressed like this? Were you doing a performance or something? He says, no, the performance I did in a shirt. Then after that, I was just feeling a little low, so I decided to wear a tie and sit down and video call all my friends. Brother,
classic Tiwari. Yeah.
I don't understand. All my friends have gone completely loco. He's Cyrus Saukar has decided that one day a week he's going to sit and chop all the vegetables that he has, put them in Ziploc bags and put them in the freezer. So every morning he just has to wake up, take out one bag and then cook that.
Management skills, brother.
I'm just not understanding what's going on with people. Roshan Abbas is doing 17 webinars a day.
Oh my God.
He's one of those guys, he just on his computer every day, right? And he's just like, he just calls people. कौन है? कुछ क्या बोलना है? Event business? Okay, ready. Podcasting? Okay, ready. Storytelling? Okay, ready. Entrepreneurship? He just, it's like the Matrix keep changing the disc and just giving ज्ञान to people all the time. मैंने कहा भाई family के साथ बैठ जा थोड़ी देर.
GK, you're a good man. God bless you, Gaurav. See you soon.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you for being a big brother in my early radio days and for guiding me and teaching me all the devious things I learned about radio.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah. And of course, for the roof that you provided over my head when I came to Mumbai for the first time visiting. These things I'm always grateful for. Always remember where you came from. So I always remember that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Anytime. Love you. Bye. See you.
Take care. Bye.
Welcome to 100 Hours, 100 Stars. The star this hour is the person you are seeing on screen right now, one of my biggest stars, and proudly from Bengaluru city. She is the Indian billionaire entrepreneur, chairperson and managing director of Biocon Limited, a biotechnology company in Bengaluru city. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, thank you for accepting my invitation. Welcome to 100 Hours, 100 Star. You are the star this hour. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Prithvi.
You're looking nice during the lockdown.
Thank you.
How are you dealing with the lockdown, Kiran?
I've never worked so hard, Prithvi, in my life, because I think for the last 1 month, I have been really, I've been really dealing with virtual meetings.
Yeah.
Back to back every hour. So, I've just got your slot in now. And immediately after your slot, I'm having another meeting. So it's just crazy. My day starts at about maybe 9 o'clock in the morning and I only finish at about 10 o'clock at night. So it's really long hours. Of course, I do break away for maybe a very brief lunch and maybe a cup of tea sometimes. But really, it's this virtual world actually makes you work much harder.
I know.
Because you end up sort of having meetings which you otherwise normally wouldn't do, because in the physical world you have to get everyone together in one spot and everyone has a problem coming there, but on a virtual world everyone is somehow going to be there, and then you actually run your day much more efficiently, because when you're on a virtual meeting there is a time bound starting and stopping time.
Yes.
So I think actually the virtual world works more efficiently than the physical world.
But then you'll have to put in, I think you have to slog a little extra in the virtual world. But
yes, I also miss my friends. I also miss seeing my colleagues in person.
Yes. Yeah, there is no personal touch to the virtual world. It's just virtual. Okay, Kiran, so you have been more busy during the lockdown? Busier than your routine otherwise?
Yes.
Okay, I want to ask you this. Forbes year on year puts you in the list of the top 65 most powerful women in the world. I am sure every now and then you're more often introduced as the Indian billionaire entrepreneur. I want to understand, what do these titles mean to you? Did you ever chase these titles when you started, ever?
Never. You never chase titles, but you use your titles to influence and make change. That's what I've always done. And I think my life has always been about making a difference, bringing about change. And even at this time, when we are all fighting the COVID crisis, I am really trying to use my influence to work with governments, to work with various think tanks, to work with researchers to see how we can actually, overcome this huge global challenge that we are in today. This is like an unprecedented war on the world, which we never thought would happen.
Yeah. So, Biocon, you have your R&D. Do you have an R&D for COVID by any chance? Are you guys working on? You are?
Yes, absolutely. Because I think this is a time when every company with those kind of resources that we have must focus on COVID. And we are doing a number of things, Prithvi. You'll be very interested to know that,
Please share it.
our company Syngene over the weekend actually got approved to be another testing lab. And, we've actually expanded the testing capacity. And even before we got approved, I said, let's do it free of cost and help the government. So that's what we are doing in terms of helping them deal with their backlog of testing. We have a world-class, viral testing laboratory, which we put to good use, because otherwise we were doing it for research, and now we're, using it for delivering on diagnostic services. Then, you've heard about the challenge of serological tests, because these are blood tests which test antibodies and antigens. And as you know, there was a big scandal about importing these kits from China and then rejecting them. So we are trying to develop a reliable kit, and I think we've already developed a reliable ELISA kit, which is basically able to very accurately test antibodies. And which especially this is very useful when you test patients who have recovered from COVID and people who didn't even know they had COVID, but they've recovered. So you can actually test such people, and that's what they say builds up herd immunity, which means society starts becoming immune to this virus. So those are the kind of tests we are developing. Then we are working with vaccine companies in India to help them with bringing their vaccines to the market. Then we are developing antibody therapies. Then one of our drugs is actually being used for treating serious COVID patients to see if that drug can work in saving lives. So I think there's so much happening on the COVID front that I think this is an opportunity which has suddenly come out for our researchers to look at and gives them a very deep sense of purpose, and me too.
Why is it that the vaccine takes this long, Kiran? They take years.
So the vaccine development program actually takes long because you have to first establish how it works in an animal model. That itself takes a short time. And that basically means that you first vaccinate the animal with your vaccine. Then you challenge the animal by injecting it with, say, coronavirus, and seeing whether they still can fight the virus because they've been vaccinated. So first, once you prove that in animals, and they also do monkey trials because that's closest to man. And so when monkey trials work in the challenge test, then you know that the vaccine is working. And then you basically start very safely taking it to humans. So you first take it into healthy volunteers who are more healthy, and therefore they can actually take, a vaccine is nothing but a dose of a small amount of the virus, right, in a certain form, in a non-virulent form. And then your body is supposed to develop antibodies against that and immunize you against future, if you do catch the infection. So that's what immunization is. And therefore, what happens is that when you actually give this vaccine to healthy patients, you expect them to actually develop the immune response. And then you have to make sure that the immune response is long enough and it is enduring. And so that they actually get immunized for a long time, So all this takes a lot of time. So the first part of the test is just a safety test. Then you do an efficacy test in a small number of people. That also takes time, right? And then you do a phase 3 study, which basically then tells you that this vaccine is actually doing what it's supposed to do.
Wow, yeah. So the procedure is quite long drawn. Okay.
So, but anyway, the this process is being reduced and abbreviated so that the normal time is compressed.
Superb. Okay, I don't know if you remember, I was personally there at your organization to host your annual day. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yes, I remember, Prithvi.
Now, I want to bring this to your ears. I'm sure you have heard it, but I want to say what I saw. Your employees genuinely love you and respect you. And the people who came and told me that you're so easily approachable, you mingle with them so freely. I want to ask you this, Kiran. Is this what you have learned on the way to treat people the way you do?
That's me. I think I've always been approachable and to anybody. I mean, even when you call me, I'm always approachable.
Yes,
and you know, I care about people. I'm very gregarious by nature, and I really believe these are simple joys you can give people by just connecting with them.
Fantastic. I don't know personally in my circle or not just in my circle in India, more qualified than you are to ask this question, especially at a time such as this. Your tips for aspiring entrepreneurs.
First and foremost,
can I just take that? Sorry. Before that, can I ask you one more question? Did you always aspire to be an entrepreneur?
No. I always call myself an accidental entrepreneur. I never planned to be an entrepreneur. And I basically was thrown into the deep end because I didn't get a job. And I decided to start my own company. I, took a big risk, but it paid off. And I learned on the job. And that is why I'm not the typical, handbook entrepreneur that you normally expect. I'm actually somebody who's self-taught. I work very intuitively. I use a lot of common sense. I connect with people because I told you that I care about people. And I also remember even during this time, it was not just about the research that we did, but we actually, reached out to the slum dwellers. We reached out to the poor people in our city. We reached out to the migrant labor in our city, and of course, we distributed thousands of grocery kits.
Awesome.
I supported many organizations, and I said, please go ahead and do this because they need our help at this time. I even supported Anil Shetty's very nice initiative of distributing cash to some of the very poor families. Things like that,
Oh, you're doing that through your foundation? You have a Biocon Foundation as well,
yeah,
right?
So Biocon Foundation did most of that, but I also did some through BPAC.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, you're actively involved with BPAC as well.
Well, I chair BPAC.
I spoke to Revati recently. I put her on air, and the idea was to generate some funds as well. Oh, okay. I didn't know you were active yet with Bangalore Professional.
Mohandas Pai, Jairaj, and I founded BPAC.
I know that. I know. Yes, of course. Superb. Okay. I'm going to ask you 2 fun questions. Let's see how this goes. 3 things that you always carry with you.
My phone, for sure. Without my phone, I'm absolutely lost. Okay. Then I carry definitely my handbag, which has all the junk in the world. Okay. And third is, of course, some identification, because without that, these days, you may be restricted or stopped from going anywhere. And now
who will stop you?
A mask. Now onwards, it will change. I'll have a mask. Okay. I'll have a hand sanitizer, which I always used to carry, by the way. In that rubbish that I used to carry in my bag, I always had a hand sanitizer. But now it will definitely be my phone, my mask, and my hand sanitizer, and with my Arogya Setu app on my phone.
Okay. 3 things that you say when you are impressed.
When I'm in?
When you are impressed with your employees, 3 things that you say.
I said, wow, that was the first thing. Secondly, I say, well done. And the third thing is, I'm so proud of you.
3 things that you do before going to bed.
3 things: I brush my teeth, I wash my face, and I say a little prayer.
And when you, okay, I will digress. When you get up in the morning, do you also start your day with a prayer?
No. When
Only
I
by going to
start my
sleep.
day, I have a cup of tea. Then I read my, now those days it used to be newspapers. Now it's all on my phone. I read the
Feeds, yeah.
latest news, and I listen to the news on the TV. And then I go to the gym. I do a quick gymming. I also walk. I walk as much as I can, do a bit of gymming, and then I get to work.
So clearly you're not listening to FM stations. Thanks.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have to drive too long, Even when I get to work, it's a very short drive. That's why I don't listen to FM stations.
Okay. I'll give you 2 options. Just pick one, please. Would you rather be in true love or truly be rich?
I think that's a very difficult question to answer because I want to basically be a wealth creator, and I want to be very loving.
Sweet. Would you rather have the power of X-ray vision or would you rather be invisible?
I think I would like to basically have the ability to assess a situation, look at the data, and be able to know where we are.
Okay. A quality that you like in another human being. The quality that you admire.
I really admire honesty and frankness.
Super. Quickly, I want to take 2 minutes. How did you actually meet your husband, Mr. Shaw?
My husband came to Bangalore as the chairman and managing director of Madura Coats.
Yes.
And he came here in 1991. And, Bangalore is a very small social circle. So I happened to meet him at some dinner party hosted by a mutual friend. And then we both realized that we had some common interests like art and, music. And, we just got to, and then I started playing golf, and he's an avid golfer. So that's how we started playing golf together. And that's how we started, building a relationship, I would say.
This was how many years ago, Kiran?
1991 is when we met, and we got married 7 years later in 1998.
You were courting each other for 7 years?
Yeah. And very good friends.
3 things you like about Mr. Shaw?
Well, he is extremely honest as a person. He is very supportive. He's very secure. And he is a great anchor for me. He's a big pillar of strength for me. And he's a very intelligent man because he very often, when I'm stuck at some decision that I need to take, I sort of have a brainstorming with him, and he doesn't necessarily tell me what to do, but he tells me what he wants to do. And very often I think some of his his way of looking at situations is something I really admire.
It gives you a different perspective than your own. Okay, those who are watching, the youngsters especially, Kiran, lesser and lesser people are jumping into the institution or the concept of marriage. Your idea about marriage or relationships?
I think marriage is a very, very deep relationship, partnership, and understanding between two people. And I think that's what it's about. I mean, you need someone whom you feel very close to, somebody you can trust, and somebody who's your sounding board all the time. That's the way I look at a marriage, saying that it gives you that sense of security, that sense of comfort, and that sense that you belong.
I am sure you must have had some amount of ups and downs or arguments or conflicts. How do you deal with it?
I think all couples, learn how to deal with it. I think it's very important because that's a very important part of marriage. When you want to basically, have a very mature understanding and relationship, you need to have differences and you need to be able to resolve it.
That
And
requires
that's what
an
makes that
amount of emotional
relationship
maturity
even
as well.
stronger. Yes.
Fantastic. Now, Kiran, for those who are watching, I would like to remind them that this is a non-stop tribute to COVID warriors, 100 hours, 100 stars. And I would urge and sincerely request those who are watching to kindly donate to the PM Cares Fund. There are multiple ways you can do it. On the bottom of the screen, there is a QR code. You can either use the QR code or use the link or donate the way I did, which was through Paytm, which is very, very easy. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, always a pleasure speaking with you. You are so humble and kind and honest and sincere. Thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining with me on 100 Hours, 100
Prithvi,
Stars.
and this is a great initiative. I think our healthcare workers, our corona warriors, and now even those who donate their plasma for plasma therapy are also our corona warriors.
Right.
I want to salute every one of them.
Thank you so much for your time, Kiran. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hi guys, it's me RJ Ada and you are watching 100 Hours, 100 Stars, a tribute to the COVID warriors. And there are stars, there are superstars, legends who are a part of this, people who we look up to, get inspired, who bring a smile on our faces, and they're all here telling you to be together and fight this together and saying thank you to all our COVID warriors. So if you like what you see, then do like, share, comment and subscribe, and of course, stay safe. Thank you.